What am I really building? At first, I thought I was building a trading system, a framework to understand the market, a way to read price, to understand who is actually in control, and to make better trading decisions. But the more I think about it, the more I realize, maybe I'm not just building a trading system. Maybe I'm building something much bigger. Because a trading framework doesn't exist in isolation. It creates a way of thinking. That way of thinking creates a decision. The decision creates an action. The action creates an outcome. And the outcome creates feedback. That feedback goes back into the system, and the system can then be improved. When this process repeats, the system begins to evolve. This is what I mean by system thinking. And this is why I started Fractalization. Fractalization is not simply a name for a copy trading portfolio. It is an experiment, a real-world implementation of a framework called Fractal Authority Model. The framework exists to help me understand the market. Fractalization exists to test that understanding in the real market, and the market will provide the feedback. So on July 20, 2026, I transferred 16.32 USDT from my spot account into my futures account and started building a live trading portfolio on BitMart. The name is Fractalization. This is a small experimental portfolio, and I want to be completely transparent. My current approach should be considered high risk. This is not a portfolio that I'm presenting as a proven success story, not yet. The portfolio is still very young. There are currently 0 copiers, and the recorded maximum drawdown has already reached 40.13%. I am not hiding that. I want that number to remain part of the history, because this is the baseline, the real starting point, and the output of this experiment may or may not be what I expect. Maybe the framework will perform the way I believe it should. Maybe it won't. And that's okay, because the purpose is not to prove from the beginning that I am right. The purpose is to find out what is actually true. It becomes the outcome. It becomes feedback. And that feedback can be used to improve the system. This is where the closed loop becomes important. Framework, decision, execution, outcome, feedback, improvement. And then the process begins again. So from a very small starting capital, combined with a high-risk trading approach and a clearly defined framework called Fractal Authority Model, I want to discover what kind of output this system can actually produce. Not only profit or loss, but also decision quality, risk management, consistency, drawdown, and the ability to survive. Real market conditions. Because profit alone doesn't tell the whole story. A system can produce profit and still carry enormous risk. A system can have high returns and still experience deep drawdowns. That is why I want to observe everything. The profits, the losses, the drawdowns, the decisions, the mistakes, and the feedback. Everything becomes part of the history. Because if this system grows, I want to look back and see exactly where it started, what the baseline was, what the risks were, what the weaknesses were, and most importantly, what changed. The Fractal Authority Model is the framework. Fractalization is the real-world experiment. The market is the testing environment. The results are the output, and the feedback drives the next version. This is the closed loop. If you are thinking about following or copying Fractalization, there is something important to understand. Don't simply copy my risk. Don't assume my position size should be your position size. Don't assume my leverage should be your leverage. Your capital, your position size, and your risk per trade should be determined by your own circumstances and your own risk tolerance. Because copy trading can copy a trade, but it cannot copy your financial situation. It cannot copy your ability to absorb a loss, and it cannot decide how much risk is appropriate for you. If you understand the risks involved in futures trading and want to follow the journey of this portfolio, you can find it on BitMart under the name Fractalization. But remember, this is not a promise of profit. Copy trading does not eliminate risk. Futures trading carries significant risk, and past performance does not guarantee future results. For me, this is something different, because now the framework is no longer just an idea on a chart. It is entering the real world. Every trade becomes another observation. Every decision becomes another test. Every mistake becomes another lesson, and every drawdown becomes a test of the system and the trader behind it. This is where Fractal Authority Model meets reality. Can this framework help create better decisions over time? I don't know the final answer yet, And I'm not going to pretend that I do, because this is the beginning. What happens next is no longer just theory, it becomes history. And perhaps that is what I'm really building. Not just a trading system, but a system that can learn. And this is where the journey begins. If you want to follow the development of fractalization, subscribe to Bias Positive Digital Rise. Like this video, share it with someone who may find this experiment valuable, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Follow the process, watch the evolution, and see what the market will ultimately teach us. This is fractalization.